You are live. Excellent.
Thank you so much, Raj, for your kind words. So let's start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Apps Portal ABC session today. Very good morning, afternoon, or evening based on the region you belongs to. So I will try my level best to make the session interactive and alive. I know it's a bit late in the APEC region, and I really appreciate the guys who joined from there. So we have an attendees. We have a lot of attendees from there as too. So please bear with me for the next 40 to 45 or maximum 50 minutes, and I will try to wrap up as soon as quickly. So I would like to briefly introduce myself here, and then I will start with the agenda for the session. My name is Ambesh Singh. I'm currently working with the KPMG Deutschland as a Dynamic 365 architect and a technical manager within Microsoft practices. And prior that, I worked with the Pearson VUE and EA Games. And mostly in my career, like I worked with the Microsoft in the different product groups and the consulting. So I worked with the Bing, I worked with the MSN, and then Dynamic Portal product teams, and then I provided consulting to the Microsoft Global Delivery Services. So you can follow me over the Twitter, you can connect me over the LinkedIn as well. So like we know, the business are constantly challenged to grow, scale, and increase efficiency. At the same time, striving to add service capacity, increase customer satisfaction, and deliver exceptional services, all while improving staff productivity and enhancing service quality. And how do we, like, how the smart business do it all? With a best-in-class CDS and Dynamic 365 backed website portal, quickly build, secure, self-service portal, and even the entire website with no developer required. And mark my word, no developer required here. So make your CDS and Dynamic 365 data available to the web, a custom application builder, like provide a seamless um, customer experience with a responsive solution that optimize for mobile, tablet, desktop, or any of the devices, and right out of the box, first thing first. So let's see the high level of agenda today, which I will do my best to cover as much as from the following topics and the topics even out from the list. So we will basically cover about the Power App portals, like what is the Power portals, their capabilities, their what is coming new or what is new in that, their known issues, how it's different with the Dynamic 365 portals, and with the followed up with the Q&A. So, if I would say Power App portals, actually, it's allow us to create a low code, no code websites, and from our customers. So, sorry, for our customers. And the motto behind is the idea of make it simple. And yes, make it simple. With Power App actually extending the capabilities of the Dynamic 365 applications. So the full capabilities of Dynamic 365 portals, which previously offered as an add-on to the model-driven app in the Dynamic 365, are now available completely standalone inside the Power Apps. These capabilities features, I would say, it's a revamped end-to-end experience for the makers to quickly create and deploy the website and customize it with the pages, layout, contents, and makers can actually reuse the page design throughout the templates, and they can add the forms, they can add the charts, they can add the views to display the key data from the common data services and publish with just one click. So let's take a use case like I can give a brief of my organization, like KPMG have done of the internal users and the external customers. And let's think of the scenario where I need to connect with my IT team for the faulty hardware or some software issues or the printer is not working. And maybe I need to connect with my HR team for my leave or vacation policies. So do I need to write an email or call them? The answer is no. I can explore the knowledge base and the forum discussions before approaching to them. And that would be probably the right way to achieve this business scenarios. Same as for my end users or the customers. So example, if they need to raise a ticket or they just need to submit a new change request, so they can use the customer self-service portal, and because it's on the top of the CDS or the dynamic database, we can create a workflow from the request to invoice and send bills to them after work finished or completed. No magic here. and the complete process take less than a day to surface it. So let's talk about some of the data fact here. So currently we have approximately 11 million active users for the portal. And currently, I mean to say here, the data is from the last MS Ignite. So 11 million active users, and there are just 500% growth since the last 1 year. So you can see the base of the active users there, and it's keep growing. It's not stopping. And there are around 14,000 portals are running. And again, there's a 50% growth since last 1 year. And 14,000 portal are actually the production portal. We are not counting the sandboxes, the UVET or the integration or any other kind of the stages. And the most important, like how the users are involved with the portal. So you can just find out there are approximately 300 million pages per view per month. So pages views per month is definitely a very good I would say the numbers like 300 millions are not less, and it's about 200% growth since last 1 year. And not only the page views, they are, because page views, yes, you just reach out to the page, but actually portals involve the end users as well. They make more interactive. So there are approximately 100 million transaction per month, which is again not less. And transaction means all the transaction, like all the CRUD operations. We have the searches, we have the login, log out, and everything. So it's growing. The idea is to giving this data, it's growing, and there are a lot of good aspects. Um, Even Microsoft is really pushing hard to just make it more simpler and make it more reachable for everyone. So just think it about the roadmap somehow, or the portal histories. So portals are not new actually. So the people who belongs to this field, they know like they exist since years, and they started from the EDX, then Microsoft Dynamics portals, and now we called as a Power Apps portals. So major announcement for the Power App portals came in April 2019, when it just declared as a private preview, and it's followed by the July 2019 as a public preview. So October 1st, 2019, Microsoft actually announced Power App portals as a GA, and with a lot of loaded cool new features. So since October 2019, there is no dynamic portals. Everything is the Power App portals now. So the current release, which is has been shipped in Feb 2020, is 9.2.2 dot something. Like it's always increasing the minor build. Like currently, I think it's 15th and like a build 15. And there are again lot of enhancements there. So apart from the bug fixes, they are pushing the new capabilities. They are not waiting themselves for the major release. So an example, like there was an issue like forum replies are not working for the languages which support the double bytes character, like I would say the Chinese or the Japanese languages. So they got fixed, and they got bit they this has been shipped in the 9.2.2.15 release. So in the same way, like there are some in some of the scenarios, um, there in the portal front side editor, page editors, users are not able to access the child web files in a web page if this is associated with the web page access control rule, and the web page does not have any web page like a web rule associated with that. So those kind of the major issues has been fixed very quickly. So let's move to the next one. And because I always used to speak two terms, Dynamic 365 portals or the Power App portals. Now the question is that like what will happen to the Dynamic 365 portals, and what are the major difference in the Dynamic 365 versus Power App portals? So my answer is there is no difference. So all the Dynamic 365 portals are Power App portals now. There is no difference. So, and this all the happened like after the GA. So there was no downtime. Everything was auto upgraded by default. And as an end user or as a developer or as a consultant, I actually don't need to bother about that. So everything has been done by the Microsoft itself. So all the new capabilities are available by default for the developers, for the end users, or for the organizations. But there is something which is actually not common in both of them, and that is the branding. So branding is got different. So we had earlier Dynamic 365 portals, and now the brand has changed. Everything is the Power App portals now. So there is no more Dynamic 365 portals. And the same applies to the license as well. So if you remember, like earlier, we used to trigger or spin up the environment via the admin panel, buying a add-on as a portal and spin up as much as the portals we wanted in our instances. Now, actually, you can spin up if you have the existing licenses, but the moment this licenses is going to expire, the renewal time will come. You are probably you need to move out or you need to opt for the Power App portals then. So you will automatically move to the new licensing plan. Okay, so now quickly go to the next slides. So here, basically, I would focus on what the major capabilities which has been introduced. So the first thing is the low code, no code solution. And like it's low code, no code solutions for creating multilingual responsive websites for the users, external to to your organizations as well as for the internal employees. So it's not only for the external users, but yes, there are other scenarios where you need to use for your internal employees too. And users, any of like users can or the developers can use any of the commercial or enterprise login providers. So an example like Microsoft accounts, LinkedIn, Azure, AD, B2C, Google, Facebook, Twitter, or even they can allow the anonymous access as per their business use case. And the most important is like portals use the WYSIWYG. So what you see is what you get. Designer to create a website content based on the responsive design. I used to remember when I used to work for the MVC application, MVC.NET or the ASP or even the window applications. We were like so glad, okay, what we are dragging, like we dragged one button, one form, or a few text boxes that need to be rendered on the browser in the same way. And that is actually happening there. So you can see the instance preview, and it is WYSIWYG based designer. And on the top of that, like Power App portals are based on the Bootstrap 3.3 dot something. I think it's 7 or 8. But there's an exception for the event portal. And apart from that, like it's running on the Bootstrap. And portal developers should not be replaced on Bootstrap 3 with other CSS libraries. So if you want to use it, please include the new one and continue to use that. Don't replace this one because there are a lot of functionality who are running on the base of this. And if you're making any changes, please make it sure that your changes is not going to break the responsive. So it's a shared responsibility. It's responsive, yes, but if you are adding more pages like HTML content or something, then it's your responsibility that you need to adhere the compliance of the Bootstrap 3.3 dot something. And it's not only this. So I used to say like a low code, no code, but it's not limited to there. So there is a lot of things for the developers also. It's pro dev extensibility and the templating capabilities for the designing complex business processes. So there is so much available for the developers as well. And the best part is for me is we can use the pre-built template like customer self-service, partner management, event management, community self-service, or even if I'm not satisfied with that, I can still go with the custom portals, and I can just start from the scratch based on predefined templates. So basically, setup experience for the portals are very quick and it's easy. You have a simplified designer in German. We just call it as a clicky bunty. So with just few clicks, you can surface the CDS data on the top of the rich predefined templates. I would take a pause here on the slides and I would quickly show that so you can able to correlate very quickly. Just let me bring my slides here. So if you can confirm, if you can able to see the browser. Anyone, just type it.
We can see.
Okay, thank you. So like this is, you basically need to go to the make.powerapps.com. This is the entry point for that. You can actually go and select the new app, and there's a portal flavor available for you. And this is the one way to create it. The another way, like you can just quickly go to the create, and this is basically like if you have already Dynamic 365 instance available and you have some solution. So on the base of the solution, you can get the predefined templates here too. So you can choose the community, customer self-service, employee self-service, partner portal, and it's up to you. So you can go either way. And just an example, like here also, if you need to start it from the blank template, so a pop-up will come, and very quickly just to name your website. You need to check your address here. So if it is available or not, depending on the availability, you need to choose the base language for that and just click on the create. And in my experience, all the websites, all the portals has been spinned up less than a minute time and maximum 2 minutes. I still do remember, like I used to spin up the portal add-on from the Dynamic 365 Admin Center, and sometimes take 20 minutes to 40 minutes as well. Like and now it's really fast. So you can actually you can actually spin up your portals very quickly. You don't need to wait for that. And the moment you will trigger it from here, predefined solutions will automatically deploy to the instance. So let's move forward. And after creating the portal, actually, the next question is from where you can customize them. So that is definitely come in our mind, that how we will decide the themes, the images, the navigation, the web pages, or actually even the content of your websites. So answer is pretty simple. And I told you, like there was a goal for the portal team that make it simple. And Microsoft provided Portal Design Studio for that, and it's a WYSIWYG experience. So like you just need to open it, like you just need to reach out to there. There's will be the tool belt, and then you can actually add the pages, components, and so many stuff from here. You have a property, you have a bottom bar, or the footer, so you can do actually a lot of stuff from here. And it's just a click, 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 nothing else. So you are not gonna make any kind of the major changes here. If you can, if you want, you can, but it's actually probably in most of the scenarios you don't need it. So it's simplified portal designer to customize content of your website. Maybe you can create and manage the pages, navigations, themes in just a few clicks. So this actually impels us to increase the productivity in the multifold way. And you can have an option to choose predefined page layouts if it is not matching with your business requirement. So you are feel free to use that one. And you always feel free to create your own template using the page or the web templates, which is available within the portal solution by default. So we are feel free to extend it. Now, one of the important aspect here, like portal are meant for the user outside of your organizations as well as for the internal. So there are few terms, like the terms is authentication or the anonymous users or always come in the picture. And we need to be very focused on that one, because remember, you are exposing your data. So it need to be very secure. And the good thing is, like, you can enable a variety of commercial login provider like Microsoft, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Or as well as you can opt for the enterprise identity provider like Azure AD B2C. You can go for Okta, XAML, Auth0, or any of the enterprise identity providers here, which is supported by. But generally, Microsoft recommend for the Azure AD B2C as a preferred provider. But you are still feel free to use any of the providers, any of the commercial or the enterprise provider from the list. And Portal also supports for the self-service in terms of the registration or the profile management out of box. So you don't need to bother about that one. It also allows user to link or delink the identities from the different identity providers, which is probably the key aspect for me. And I really like that feature. So suppose you forget your password for the Twitter, and but you can still log in via your LinkedIn credentials. There is nobody's going to block you. And this is very powerful feature that your identity will not be lost in the portal. So you will always be there. And you can create the cases, an example, like you can create the cases after login from the Microsoft account. And the next time when you logged in via Twitter account or the LinkedIn account, you can still see all of your data as a same from the different identity providers, like in respect of the different identity providers, because your profile is the same. And is one contact in the center, like a CDS or the Dynamics. So you have only one contact. So although you are logged in with the, or you are registered with a different, and you, if the moment you just linked in, you will be having one contact, one identity providers. Sorry, with the different identity providers. And it also enables the anonymous access um, uh, for the content. Like an example, you have a FAQs, you have a contact us, and you have a about us pages. So anonymous users can come and actually can see the office locations. But what you can do, you can even eventually provide the hybrid hybrid content or the hybrid experience. Suppose you can only show the office location to the anonymous users, but you can show the HR or the salesperson email IDs or the phone numbers uh, based on if the user is authenticated. So the same page can serve the possibilities for both. And with just with list configuration, I would say, even you don't need to write long codes for that. And as I mentioned, like a lot of things, so contact is the core of the portal identity management. So it helps you support not only to the B2C scenario, but maybe the B2B model also. So just let's take an example, like if a case submitted by the Raj, so he should be able to see his cases for sure. And this is the example of the B2C. But at the same time, like if I would say the B2B scenario, so he should be able to see all the cases submitted by the Power Community or S365 Saturdays. So on behalf of his organization. So this is called the B2B, and the good part is actually you don't need to bother about that. It's all covered. It's all predefined. So everything is just you need to just configure, nothing else. So this kind of scenarios like account or the contact is already mapped there. It's already like it's already in running without making any code changes there. So you just need to configure appropriately. So here I could just quickly show again back to the portal if I can. Second, so I can just go back there. So this is probably one of my portal. So I logged in as an AD user. I can go to the profile, and this is what I was talking about, the profile management. Like you have a tool here to just go and update your profile here. You can opt for the language. You can allow that, okay, how the person can contact you, or if someone need to be, you can change your password, you can change your email address, and the main thing, you can even you can manage your external identity. So suppose you have Azure AD, you have a Twitter, you have a Facebook, you can link or delink from here. So this is kind of the powerful feature is available there, and I personally really like that one. Okay. So external user facing sites, because we know the portal meant for the external users that need to be very perfect in terms of the UIs and the look and feel, because it represent actually your brand. So responsive website which run on every platforms, every surface, every browser, internally supported by Bootstrap theme, and provide you the pixel perfect website. And that is the good part here. You can customize as much as you can. The only thing you need to consider that you are gonna follow the Bootstrap pattern to keep your website responsive. So not only like this, it's also supported all the CDS language, all 43 CDS language, except the RTL market. So RTL market, like an example, you have a Hebrew or the Arabic. So it doesn't support that one. But apart from that, it support all the CDS language. And not only the language, it's also support the language variants. Like if you have English UK or English Australia or French Canadian or maybe the French France. So like this, it support around 180 variants for now. And we just need to keep it in mind. Like we can just to configure this. We just need to keep it in mind that it need to be tied one of the base language of the CDS, because your form content, your list contents, they are coming from the CDS or the Dynamics. So it need to be adhered with that one. And the most important thing, like if I'm talking about the external facing website, and not even the external facing website, even now the window application too. So accessibility is always come in the mind. And Microsoft products since last 5 to 7 years are really focused on that one, and portals are not exception on this. So all the controls, all the layout, on 100% supported by the accessibilities, and it supported the WCAG 2.0. And we know the WCAG, if I can just tell, like it's a web content accessibility guidelines, which is a standard came from the W3C guidelines. And if you are making any customization in the layout, you just need to share the responsibility equal with Microsoft, that as a developer you need to customize, and your customization need to be compliant to the WCAG. So recently, like WCAG also declared the next version 2.1, but I'm not sure like in which release you will get this is as a standard out of box with the portal. But if you are making your own customization, you are always feel free to adhere the norms of the WCAG 2.1. So that is one thing is really important. And for portals, like it's for portal, CDS is not the is definitely the core for that one, but it doesn't mean that you cannot leverage the beauty of other Microsoft products or the services. So definitely we are going to cover like in the next session up it is going to cover more in that. But like for now, like an example, like Microsoft products or services, like an example, integration with the Power BI embedded components, like for the reports, dashboards, and the tiles. Or you can integrate with the SharePoint on Azure Blobs for the document storage. And maybe you can integrate with the Azure AD B2C as an identity provider. You can integrate your portals with the Azure Application Insight for the telemetry uses. And it's integrated with Azure app, like you can integrate with the Azure Application Gateway for the web, like web access firewall for providing additional security. So you can do like a lot of integrations out of box with just few clicks or the few configurations. Just let me quickly show a few of them very quickly. So an example, just a second, let me just go to the admin. So I'm on the admin panel of the Power App portals, and here you can see like you can set up the integration with the SharePoint, and you can set up the integration with the Power BI. Apart from that, actually, if you can go to the portal actions, there are more with the AD. So if you enable the diagnosis log, you can just push this all the information to the Azure Blobs to see your like you can just leverage the functionality of the telemetries, or there are a lot of tools available over the Azure, so you can just filter out like Splunk and others. So you can use maximum from the Microsoft ecosystem. So example, like I enabled the diagnosis log. If I can just go to the Azure, which I already did configured. So second, I'm on the Azure right now. So if you can see on the Azure, I already did configuration for the logs, and it's my site ID with the language support. I can go and deep down from there, like from the telemetry studio, and I can see, okay, what all the logs are available like for me. So if I just need to open, okay, I can download it, I can view it, what kind of the issue I faced in this particular scenario. So you can even customize this logs. So this is actually available out of box. You just need to configure it. So advanced admin option. So I would again go back to the admin panel there on the browser. So basically, like it provide you to just get the latest metadata translation. You can restrict the IP addresses. You can enable the diagnosis login. You can enable the maintenance mode. You can clear the cache. You can run the portal checker, which is recently introduced, like with the Power App. So example, let me just quickly go to the browser again, and I can show you very quickly these things. Second. So this is what I was talking about. So an example, like you can set up the IP address restriction here. So you can just provide the IP specific format, and you can restrict your portal to be just available for the specific IPs. So example, if I'm in the organization and I just need to be enable portal only for my organization users, or this can be only accessible only from my organization IP, I can enable that things here. And portal diagnosis logs, I have already shown you. So portal diagnosis log, you can just enable it from here, and you can just to sync push it to the Azure Blobs. You can get the like latest metadata translations here. So an example, like by default, you will get from the defined language, which you just use for the spin up the portal. Like an example, if I use English as a default language to spin up the portal, then by default it will be available there. But the moment, like an example, you enabled the stuff for the different languages, like maybe you enable 15 languages, so you just need to come here and just click on the get latest metadata translations. So it will support you the multilingual stuff, like it will give you by default the support for those contents. And apart from that, like if you need to clear the cache, so there are the different way you can actually go and restart it from there. This is the one way. Second way, actually you can I will show you on the other one, but very quickly, there's a enable maintenance mode, which is again a cool feature, which I like it. Like you can actually show the specific page, or you can just go to and redirect to the custom URL if you are gonna maintain your portal. Like maybe some major deployment is going on, so for that moment you can enable the maintenance mode, and user will not get a bad feeling for that one. That okay, they don't know what is going on, why this error is coming or something. So these are stuffs you can definitely do it here. And I was talking about clearing the cache. So the one way I told you, like you can restart the portal from here. The second way, you can even go to the portals here. You just type the services underscore services slash about, and uh, after your base URL, and you will get the option here for the clear cache. So you can clear it from here. There are different ways, supported ways also. Like you need to basically let me quickly go to the and here. So you can go and change something in the website binding. It will again trigger a cache clear process. Another option, you can go to your website. So on the website, you can just go and select your website. You can open it, deactivate, and activate back. So it will again trigger your cache clear. And so that's what, like you have a lot of way to do this. So it's up to you that what you want to prefer. And the question is, like I always use the term that okay, clear the cache, but why do we need this? So these things come in the picture when you have a rapid development on the portal. So an example, you developed something, it's not rendering properly on the page, or it's not been rendered yet. Like an example, you added few themes, or maybe you added few of the content as a liquid template. You enable the markups, HTML markups with the help of that one, and it's not rendering here. So you just go and clear the cache. It's more for the developers, definitely not for the end users, because end users can't reach to this platforms. And the downside of clear the cache is it will slow out your system. So portals, the good part is warm up, like it boot up when the first hit came, and then it continue on the same pace. So if you clear the cache, it need some, it slow down for the moment until it's not boot up again or warm up again. So these are the things. And if I would say the next is like what's new in that, like for the Power App portal. So theming studio I talked about, like we will see more in that and in the system. We have a serious portal migration schema, and this is definitely I love to have this from the Microsoft. So when we started with the Dynamic 365 portals, we always struggle to create the schema files, and schema files basically is getting used, or it need to be used when you need to move your data from one environment to another environment, or one instance to the another instance. You need to run via the configuration migration tool. So you need to go, and either you can download it from the NuGet or the SDK. You will get the configuration migration tool. You need to create a schema, then you need to import it from one environment, and then you need to export to the other environment, like the target environment. So there are predefined schemas available there. You just need to download and use it. So it's available for every variety of the portal. Like it's available for the starters, it's available for the customer self-service, partner portals, for everything. So if you will get it, it's good. If you will not get it, just connect me. I can provide very easily to you. As I told, like it's embedded with the Power BI, and which is again a cool feature because everybody wants to surface the data from the Power BIs to the portals. We have a page layout, and Microsoft is really working hard on that. They are keep adding the new page layout, so you don't need to start it from the scratch. You can use the existing page layouts, like a page with the child links or the page with the title or something like that, or even you can go with the landing page title or anything. And there are the portal designer studio enhancements. So an example, if you have if you want to add the list or the entity forms, you actually don't need to wait to render it on the browser. You can get it on the designer itself. So definitely you will not get the data as a preview, but you will get on the column headers or something, that okay, how your list is going to look like. And you can actually use the same for the liquid rendering also. So you just type it on the editor and you will get the immediate reflection without publishing, without reaching out to the browser. um, the new portal checker rules is again one of my favorite. So if you from the administration prospect, so an example, I can just quickly show it on the browser. Just give me a second. So just a second, let me, I think here. So here we have the portal checker. You can actually execute the portal checker here, which is really a cool feature. So like it will give you all the inside out. If some there's some issues with the securities, there's some issue with the navigation or the parent or the child web page relation. So there are almost, I think, 15 I think 15, or now I think it's 17 rules already defined there, and portal team is really working hard to just provide more and more in that. So you can actually really get and features for that, like you can actually utilize this feature as well to just see the insights of the portal. Now, what would be the focus area for the portal? So they are making it more simple, like the same motto, no code, low code. And it doesn't mean that there is nothing for the developers. So for developers, I think no code, low code, and the pro code also. So for developers, there are a lot of enhancements are coming, and it is integrated with the Power Virtual Agent, or it's gonna like it's there's a plan to integrate with every Microsoft ecosystem. Like an example, the other parts of the Power Platform, sorry. And it's basically like more reliable. Like they're focusing to make it more reliable. It doesn't mean it's not reliable, it's not secure, or it's not scalable. But the way I told you in a couple of slides earlier, the data, like how the business is growing for the portals. So definitely they are really focusing on 99.9 uptime and the security stuff and everything. So your data protection, your security, your disaster management, and everything is gonna support by Microsoft, and they are really working hard on that one. Now let's quickly just know few of the known issues or the bugs, I would say, for the portals. So there are others, but these are the major one which I just compile it. So an example, rich text for the notes in the timeline is not supported by the Power App portal. So we need to ensure that you can go and disable rich text editor from notes in Dynamic 365 timelines from the options, and if you need to use on the portals. So again, like the second thing, due to the ongoing compatibility issues between the updated Yahoo YDN OAuth provider endpoints and the Power App portal, so users are temporarily unable to authenticate with the Yahoo identity providers. This is also one of the current issue where the team is working on. And when you create an environment along with the starter portal, so the owner of the portal is not displayed correctly actually. So sometimes it shows as a system, and Microsoft is looking into that issue too. So the next important, like if you have a page hierarchy for more than 3 levels, like an example, root, then child 1, then apart child 2, and then child 3, and the moment you reach out to the 4th level, you will not be able to see currently with the Portal Apps, Power Apps Portal Studio. So Designer Studio will not be able to show this. Definitely, it will be rendered on the browser, but there is a limitation currently that it's not gonna show. The next important is the color pickers. So color pickers and its related strings supported only for the English language. So currently it is only for the English language. Yes, the team is working to find it out and resolve it soon. A few templates pages on the employee self-service portal are actually not renders the correct breadcrumb. And okay, very quickly, I can show you what is the breadcrumb. So just a second again. So I show the portal here. Let's see some of the pages, which is already up and running. If I can see, otherwise I will just, okay, let's go to maybe my support. Just bear with me. So this navigation is called the breadcrumb. So it's supported by default, but yes, there on the employee self-service portal, sometimes it's not able to render the correct breadcrumb. And yes, team, definitely Microsoft is looking into that one. The next important part here is only CSS applied to the root page is displayed in the theme pane. So it's more about the designer tool or the editors. So although if you try uploading the CSS file with the same name as any other CSS file available in the portal, so Portal App Studio will ask you to replace that file. So this is the other stuff, like if you are just gonna with the theming and the branding. And the next one is really like if you image, if an image uploaded to the page, then it's became the child of that particular page. So if you upload it from one page like page X, so the image will be the child for that one. And if you use the same image to the other page, and if you deleted it from the page X or the initial page, you will not get able to find out the image. So this is again one of the important things where the team is looking into. And I think yes, that is more and less. So because I basically need to wrap up quickly, so Apit will get most of the time to leverage the extendability of the portal stuff. And you can ask any of the question if you have any. Or if not, then maybe later on you can just reach out to me or via the Twitter, you can, or via the LinkedIn as well. So I'm waiting for the open for the questions now.
Thank you, Ambesh, for that great overview of portals. There's a lot to cover, and there's some questions coming through now related to the way licensing works. So if we just step through these one by one. So Parikh Ramdev is asking, how does licensing work?
So licensing is basically you need a license for the Power Apps or the Power Platform. You don't need a separate license or the add-on for the Dynamic 365 longer. So because it's a part of the Power App, and you just need the license for the Power Apps. I can just ping the complete licensing plan later on the window. So it has been announced before 1st of October 2019, and we are still continuing the same thing. So initially it was for the per add-on, but now it's changed it based on the usability. So for the user for the organizations who are having less than 1,000 users, it's probably good for them. But if you have more than 1,000 users, then I don't think so. It's very much suited with the new licensing model, because you need to pay for every logins. Like there is, I think 100 login or something is available per 24 hour. There's page views also included in that. I think 100,000 page views something. So this is always a point to consider it actually for your customer.
So Parikh, just to elaborate on that, yes, the licensing has changed very drastically for portals, and you are billed based on a number of logins and number of page views. And Ambesh, that is a very important part of the portal's kind of story, I guess. So I think we do need to cover that and address it. So yeah, please, if you can share an elaboration of information on that, that would be good for the users. If you could just post it in the chat window, then it would answer their questions. But in short, yes, Parikh. He said, you've heard there are team member licenses required to be assigned. Parikh, the team member licenses are related to logins, I believe. When you refer to team member, yeah.
Exactly, Raj. Just to echo you, so the team member license when you are going to use the employee self-service portal. So if you need to use within your organization, then at least the team member license need to be there. So the actual employees can use the portal. You don't need a complete Dynamic 365 sales license or something like that. So team member license need to be required there. But for the end users, no, there is no on the licensing, because definitely you can't control the end users. It can be the millions. At the same time, yes, there is a way like Microsoft get the revenue from the page views. So logins. So this is the way Microsoft is generating the revenue right now with the new licensing plan.
Okay, so do you need a team member license for every employee who is using self-service? So Cheryl Netley is asking, do you need a team member licenses for every employee who is using self-service?
Yes, in my knowledge, or the best of my knowledge, yes, we need to get a team member license for every employee who was gonna use the portals.
And Cheryl, just to elaborate on that, that's because of the definition of a user, basically a B2C versus B2B. So fundamentally, yeah. So Cheryl, I know what you're saying there. It says here, Cheryl's saying, wow, it used to be 50 people would equal one full license. So basically, you'd be allowed to get 50 users per guest users per one full license. But as you can imagine, Cheryl, that's a bit hard to kind of monitor, isn't it? It's hard to enforce that kind of policy. But yeah, there's a lot of questions on licensing, Ambesh. I don't know if you if we do need to cover licensing in more detail, but that's a game changer when it comes to portals, I guess, because it is such a big change. So I do believe we need to. What other questions are there? How can we achieve editable grid? I'm guessing we'll preserve that question till the end of the next session, which is more on developing portals. Another question related by Anonymous, related to scan files uploaded by third-party users for my portal for many viruses. So I think those questions we will preserve them for the next session. What else is there?
I think these questions I can answer it quickly, because
Okay, sure,
I'm
yeah,
not sure that Pit is going to cover this thing. So like regarding the security stuff, like if how we can actually make it sure that no one is uploading the JavaScript or something to the portal as an attachment, especially the anonymous user. We have an metadata available. You can just go and enable the metadata like the meme type and others, and you can restrict the users to upload the specific file types, or the vice versa. You can restrict the users that they cannot upload the specific file type, like which contain .js or something. So this is pretty much possible out of box with just configuration. Render it as an unusable employee service. I'm not sure.
So it's saying renders in unusable for employee self-service, in my opinion. Oh, basically, what Cheryl's saying is that the portal is not very a good fit use case if that's the licensing, if that's the licensing model. So in short, what we're saying is that the licensing model is a game changer, you know, because initially you got it free, you got one instance free, and that wouldn't have so many limitations. Now it's not the case, where now you're no longer paying for each instance. So you get one instance free, and then you'd have to pay for each instance. Now it's a case of, well, you don't have to do that, but you no longer have to pay the $500 per instance, per portal instance. But what you are having to do is pay for the usage of logged in users versus page views. And for many people, it's prohibitive. I think the main thing here, guys, is the logged in user aspect. That is going to be what's going to be a game changer, really. Now there are bundles. There are license bundles. So, for example, I think, and again, I think we should have covered that in this session. Really, we should have covered licensing of portals in the session. But there are bundles for hundreds of users. And they've discounted those. That's what Microsoft has done to address the problem around the current licensing for the per user login per month for very large scenarios. But for some people, as Ambesh mentioned earlier on in his session, it's going to be more beneficial for the smaller implementations than it is for the larger ones, where you have smaller people, a smaller number of users be logging in just to update records. It's more suitable licensing scenario for those rather than for the very large self-service scenarios, it looks like. But again, Microsoft does have a license bundles to sustain the larger implementations, and Ambesh has shared the link for the portals licensing there, Cheryl. And again, Cheryl, I'm not going to say it's not been a big change. It has been quite a big game changer for the existing portals users. But they have remodeled it, and there are different use cases now for the portals that are slightly different than before. And I believe we do need to address that. I guess we do need to go through that in a bit more detail, I guess. What are the other questions that we can see here? So regarding ALM, Bill, basically, in short, the configuration migration tool now supports the portal entities now, doesn't it? So before
exactly.
And also it doesn't. It also allows you to filter on the entities that you want to migrate across. So again, that can be a challenge. ALM can be a challenge for portals because obviously we're not dealing with code, but like you can deploy the configurations of the portals using the configuration migration tool now, if you don't want to use the XRM toolbox. So what else? What other questions are there here? SharePoint integration. I think Arpit's answered the question for Satya regarding SharePoint integration with portals. So Arpit's answered the question. You need to be a global administrator to perform the SharePoint integration into portals. And the reason why you do that is to do with tenants, to do with user and tenants access. Because the dynamics. Sorry there, Ambesh. Sorry, you were saying?
Yes, so basically, like for the SharePoint integration, definitely we need to be Dynamics Global Administrator, and firstly we need to integrate the SharePoint on the Dynamic instance or the CD instance, and then we can integrate the same or enable the same for the portals as well. So that's true, and it's mostly the configuration. Like no code is required there. You can get the data from SharePoint. You can just post the data to the SharePoint back.
So Ambesh, in the last few minutes, are you able to? Because there are so many questions about the licensing. Are you able just to kind of elaborate a bit more on the licensing aspect, just so that the attendees understand the big change? I know you kind of covered it, but I think they just want you to cover it. I think that they're asking more questions related to the licensing. So it'd be good just to explain the difference, the change from the fact that they're now billing based on page views and based on logins.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So very quickly, I just wrap it up. Like initially, when we just use the Dynamic 365 as an add-on, you need to pay the charges for that, and that's all. So you don't need to pay for the logins or the page views. Definitely, like there was nothing such kind of this stuff. But now you don't need to pay for the add-on. So add-on is no longer available. You can make the Power App portals directly from the app, like the platforms there. And as per the new licensing, like which came in the picture on which started from the October 1st. So per login at 100 logins per month is the cost around $200 US dollars. So I don't know how you treat it. It's expensive or it's not expensive or something. For me, the personal opinion, like it's for the small organization, it's good actually, because then they don't need to pay the bunch if they are not gonna have that much of users. But maybe for the big organization, we have the thousands and the millions of the users. Maybe this may be a kind of the dark side for them. And apart from that, yes, the per page views is 100,000, and 100,000. Like apart from that, that is also include the logins per month for 100 USD. So This is again like for per page views and then login included, and you just need to pay for that one. So the link actually which I shared, like it's explained by the Colin in a very well way, like with all the mathematical calculations. I hope so, and basically like it's calculated like for how it's impacting to the small organization and how it is going to impacting for the big organization. And the when this especially the page views and the per login stuff is come, okay, for every login the users or the customer need to be pay. There was a big sounds from the community as well, like I discussed that time with few of the MVPs or the SMEs, and they always had a concern regarding that one. So the audience from this group, if they have a concern regarding this, we are totally with you in that case. So like there was some proposals to the Microsoft, like you don't judge for every logged in user, maybe you just go for the unique authenticated users or something. So it's still under the review. There is no updates from the Microsoft yet, and the moment we will get something, we will post it to the walls.
Yeah, so in short, guys, there are bundles of licenses. So what Chris is saying, Chris Modge is saying, do you need to license either per user or page views or both? Yes, you do. You have to do both. So it says if less than 100,000 page views by say 40 users per month, it's $100 for 100,000 page views only. So I'm just going to read that out again, Chris. Chris, actually, do you want to unmute and just ask your question again, please?
Yeah, no problem. I was just wondering, if you need to license both. So if we did have, say, 40 external customers logging in to, say, the customer service portal, and it's less than 100,000 page views per month, do we just license the 100,000 page views per month, or do we need to also purchase the separate license for the 40 users as well?
Sorry, Raj, I'm answering that you need a license for both. Definitely, logins is the one aspect and the page views is the other. But if you are reaching the goal apart from that, you need to pay additional charges to the Microsoft.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay.
Great stuff, guys. So we've come to the end of the session. Thanks again, Ambesh, for that session. Again, lots of questions, and rightly so. You know, lots of changes to licensing. Before you get something for free, and now it's changed, so it's going to have some impact. So it's about understanding how to find the best use cases for portals. Portals, remember, is only one way of exposing your CDS data, and it's obviously a low code approach. But this is obviously the approach that Microsoft has moved to provide and if you compare it, one of the arguments is that if you compare it for like products, it's actually still a lot more expensive if you were to go for another solution that provides a similar type of approach. It actually would still cost a lot more expensive than the portals approach. So thank you once again, Ambesh, for that session. Lots of questions. That's good. It means